It's time for Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk, live from the Golden Q in Hayes. The Golden Q, dining, billiards, and a whole lot more. 2 blocks east of campus. The Golden Q. If the game is on, we're open. Tiger Talk is also brought to you by these premier Tiger sponsors. Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, banking one story at a time. The Hayes Med Orthopedic Institute, expertise, technology, and compassion, all right here. Adams Brown, strategic allies and CPAs. BTI, your John Deere dealer in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Ness City, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. The Taco Shop, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. You've never had it so good. G&L Tire and Automotive, complete automotive service and repair, and tires for all driving needs.
And a good Monday. Welcome into another installment of Tiger Talk. We're glad to have you aboard as we recap Fort Hays State's disappointing 3-point loss at home to the Emporia State Hornets on Saturday. Tigers gearing up for another road game, their final road game of the season, coming up this Saturday afternoon. They'll be in Tahlequah to take on the Northeastern State Riverhawks at a 1 o'clock kick. Again, we're live at the Golden Q in Hayes. They've got their grilled cheeseburger special for today, one of our all-time favorites. I got some new menu items for February. You want to check it out. They've got some good Thanksgiving-themed specials for their, burger, sandwich, whatever you want to call it, of the month, and a great new appetizer. You might want to check out their stuffing balls. If you like stuffing with your Thanksgiving meal, I think you're going to love this, served with gravy. So check it out here at the Golden Q. Of course, they will have the Chiefs on tonight for Monday Night Football, so bring the gang out to the Golden Q. They're 2 blocks east of campus. If the game's on, they're open. We'd love to hear from you. If you want to chime in with a question for the coach, you can do so pretty easily. Go to FHSUathletics.com, and then when you're there, look for Fan Zone. Click on Fan Zone. You'll get a drop-down menu. There at the very bottom, you'll see Tiger Talk, Ask the Coach, and you can submit a question. If we use your question, you'll be in the running for a $25 gift certificate for some food here at the Golden Q. We've already had 3 questions this week, so we'll get to those a little bit later on in the program. We'd love to hear from you today as well here on Tiger Talk with an Ask the Coach question. Fort Hays State, unfortunately, coming off a tough one, 15-12, losing at home to the Hornets of Emporia State, game which they all but had wrapped up, but it kind of slips away late. We're joined now by head coach Chris Brown, and the waves of emotion at the end of that game was tough, almost in shock a little bit, the way you guys were seemingly in a great position to win, and then obviously it didn't happen.
Yeah, it didn't. We've given ourselves plenty of opportunities to win that ball game, whether it's offensively, defensively, and we got to score some more touchdowns instead of field goals. But there are opportunities there, and we just gave it away. They scored, and we got an opportunity to have the ball on offense, and hopefully run the clock out or do something with it, and we don't. We give it back to them, and we get 2 penalties, and give up a 4th and 7 for a touchdown. So opportunities are there. We just didn't take advantage of the opportunities, and we didn't make the plays when we needed to make the plays. So if you don't do those 2 things, usually you'll lose the ball game.
Well, and as we've talked, that margin for error with this team is maybe not as big as it's been for other teams, and when you have opportunities that squander, and a couple of things that stand out, the 2 field goals rather than touchdowns, you were driving, and then you kind of touched on it, the 3 and out. You just scored, put together the best drive for either team of the day, and you thought, here you go, we're going to finish this thing out in the 4th quarter, and then they come back and score, which happens, but that 3 and out then obviously proved to be crucial. Even if you pick up a first down or 2, may have been enough to get the thing done because of time.
That's it. And it's maintain that clock management, understanding clock management, and things that we work on, in practice, and things we preach to our kids all the time is there's a time in this game where we're going to have to find a way to win this ball game and get it done. And sometimes I feel like we're playing not to lose instead of just playing to win. And it happened there. Don't run out of bounds. That's one thing we tell you right before you went out. It was first play we run out of bounds. Just not listening and doing the things that we ask you to do is a big part of it right now, and we'll get it fixed. We're still young. We've still got a lot of guys that are new, on this team, and it might not get fixed right now, but eventually, as this next year comes around, we'll get these kids lined out and fixed and playing hard again.
Yeah, the injury bug has obviously taken its toll here in the last couple of games, and we talked about it. You were young to start in a lot of areas. You've gotten even younger. And you can see progress. It seems like some of those freshmen who have been thrust into either a backup role or in some now a starting role have gotten better, but it's still a process. There's still things you almost have to experience a couple times before it becomes old hat.
It is. Once you get into an MIAA college football game, it's a whole different world. It's not just practice anymore. Where mistake's not good in practice, but it doesn't really cost you, like it does, in a game situation, or we're not making that play. It doesn't cost you as well. If it's a drop ball or not running your route properly or not protecting or, the quarterback not seeing it properly or back's not hitting holes, and then same thing defensively, the guy's not getting to his drop, not getting a good pass rush or just missing tackles, little things like that cost you. But, you can see that some of those guys that have played quite a bit this year, they are improving and they are getting better, and they needed this time to improve and get better, but it's just not happening as fast as we want it to. We're not used to being in the situation that we are right now. It's been a long time since we've been in this situation. And it's going to be about pride right now and, sucking it up, playing hard, playing physical, playing for one another, not pointing fingers right now, and come together as a team and finish these last two games off.
It's interesting you say pride. That was kind of the theme of our pregame show, and I had not told you that. And then after the ball game, you talked a lot about pride, and it's kind of what the season has become. You're playing for pride. Obviously, there's not going to be any postseason for this squad, but a chance to still finish with a winning record. It's been 2012 since Fort Hays State has not, and I would think for a lot of players, they don't want to be the group that lets that slip back, and so I would think still a lot to play for, even though on the surface for a lot of folks it may not look like there is.
There's a ton. You don't want to be that group, that ends up, 4-7 or 5-6, or you want to be at least the group that's 6-5 and still have a winning record, going on into this next year. But you're just keeping that process going. Winning in this conference is hard. It's just a few little things can cost you, any ball game, and that's what's happened this year. We've lost 5 games by a total of about 31 points, and that's not very many. A few things bounce our way. Heck, we could have won a few more of those ball games, but we just got to stay to the grind, stay working, stay positive. They still just got to keep working and doing the things that we ask them to do, and do it better. And that's the only thing right now. I still don't think we're doing anything really great. We're doing everything kind of average, and when you do things average, it's your average on Saturday.
I would imagine these next 2 weeks for this team with 2 games left, important for especially young guys getting the reps, getting the experience, but I'm sure some evaluation for you guys as well to see how everybody reacts to this and what they do here in these final 2 weeks of the regular season.
Yeah, these next 2 weeks we're going to find out who really, truly loves the game of football, and who wants to be successful, who wants to do things the right way, who wants to play hard, and who wants to get the job done, and and it's evaluation period the next 2 weeks. If you don't want to do these things, then don't be here. Because what we've done so far is not Tiger football, and we want guys that want to be part of Tiger football and want to improve this program and make this program better and win conference championships and hopefully contend for a national championship. And if you're not all in and you don't want to be great and do things to be great, then maybe you just don't need to be here.
Well, certainly Fort Hays State will get another opportunity to right the ship, so to speak, in Tahlequah against the Riverhawks, who have struggled in their own right this year, just a 2-7 mark. We'll talk more about that as the program rolls along. Tiger Talk is presented today by Golden Belt Bank of Hays and Ellis. They're here to make every story shine brighter. It's the way they do banking, one story at a time. Check them out, goldenbeltbank.com. We're going to take our first break. We've got more Tiger Talk live from the Golden Q coming up next. You're listening to the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction. Two receivers over to the right. Now one will come in motion. That's Corey Thomas. They give it up the middle. It's going to be close. I don't think they got it. Mason Perez came shooting through and tackled Calvin Boyce. It looks like it's a fourth down stop for the Tigers. They'll spot the ball. It is. Fort Hays State takes over on downs. And that was late in that first quarter. One of the highlights for Fort Hays State defensively, who, I mean, if you look at it, gave up 15 points. You had a shutout going into the last, 5 or 6 minutes of the ball game. Defensively, didn't play that bad, but 2 drives at the end. And I think when you kind of look at this season, it's not always been that you've just been terrible and you've played poorly. You haven't. You've done a lot of good things, but it seems like the moments when you don't are at the key moments of the football game, and it's what's determining wins and losses.
It's the finish, and it's it's been like that all year long, and sometimes it's just even the start, the way we start the game. But there are some good things, in these ball games that we do see out of these kids, whether it's big plays offensively or we're just rolling them, with our run game, and then defensively just flying around with the ball and stopping people, and making some big plays. But then there's times that we give up big plays on defense or we don't tackle properly. Then offensively we don't do anything, and it's just that consistency. If we could consistently play well, we could be really, really good, but you just haven't seen us play consistent all year long.
You mentioned tackling, obviously their key score that gave them the lead. Looked like you had him corralled up at the 7 and just could not make the play, allowed him to reverse his field and score what proved to be the winning touchdown.
Yeah, and it's just, again, there's a couple of young guys in there that, are still trying to figure out, this game and, the physicality of it. And, when they stopped, it seems like we stop. And you just don't stop. Just keep, ball carrier stops, just keep running through them and get a hit on them. And we get the stop. But there's a lot of guys that had opportunities to make plays, in that game that didn't get it done. And not just defensively, but offensively as well. There's so many chances that we just didn't take advantage of. And, we got to figure things out. You got 2 weeks to figure this out and figure out who truly wants to be here and who truly wants to compete and win. And, we'll figure it out here pretty quick.
And I would think these 2 weeks are important just to get a good vibe, get a good feel. Obviously, it's been frustrating for everybody. And I know fans are frustrated, coaches are frustrated. But when you're a player and this is your team, they've got to be frustrated as well just because of the standard that has been set. So I would think important to obviously you want to win, you want to finish strong, but get a good feel, get some momentum going into the off season.
That's exactly right, and we need that, and figure out who our true leaders are going to be, on this team going in, to next season. And we're going to find out these next 2 weeks, the guys that really put the time and effort in and do everything we ask them to do in the weight room and do it better and do everything with the purpose. And I think that's the most important thing, is just doing stuff with the purpose, whether it's film study, whether it's the weights, whether it's practice, individual drills, whatever it might be. Everything has to be done with the purpose, and that purpose is to be great. And if you're not doing those things to be great with the purpose, this is what happens.
You've been a fairly fast starting team, not just throughout your years, but even this season. You go back and look, you've done a pretty good job of scoring first, scoring early, but not the case Saturday. You moved the ball, I think, got it into their territory, then had to punt. Then you got a couple sacks, back-to-back sacks on your second possession. You had to punt, and then, of course, we heard that highlight of the fourth down stop that got you the ball back. But it seems like you're able to move the ball a little bit, and then kind of like the season, it just kind of falters a little bit.
Yeah, there's just always just one little thing here and there that kind of, we start moving forward, and all of a sudden we'll take 2 steps back, a step forward and a step back. And, we need to keep moving forward. And I don't know if we're stressing or we're afraid to make a mistake, and then we make the mistake anyway. So, it's just these guys just buckling down, locking in, and focusing these next 2 weeks and really getting the job done and really, putting all their effort, into these 2 weeks and making this a great season.
We're at the bottom of the hour, so before we go any further, let's go ahead and pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to Tiger Talk here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Whether it's beer, wine, or spirits, pick up a winner at either of the 2 convenient Kaiser Liquor locations in Hayes. Kaiser Liquor and 14 KEYS Hayes.
Tiger Talk brought to you this afternoon by G&L Tire and Automotive. They've got tires for all driving conditions and budgets, along with complete automotive service and repair. That's G&L Tire and Automotive. They're just east of 8th and Main on the bricks in downtown Hayes. We're live at the Golden Q. Grilled cheeseburger. That's the Monday special, one of our favorites every time we're here. So stop on by, join us for lunch. Of course, they'll have the Chiefs on tonight with Monday Night Football at the Golden Q if the game's on. on, they're open. Tigers coming off a tough loss to the Emporia State Hornets Saturday, 15-12, led 12-0, but the Hornets get 2 touchdowns in the final 5 minutes of the game. You were finally able to penetrate the red zone. You had the possession that started late in the first, got into the second quarter, drove all the way down to the 8, and then stalled. And then you had one late in the third quarter that got down to the 4 and stalled. Obviously, the frustrating portion of that is you had to settle for a couple of field goals and not punch them in for touchdowns, which obviously, when you look at this game, would have been a huge, huge difference.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns instead of 2 field goals is huge for us. And then, the scores are a lot different, and it puts a little bit more pressure on them. But, of course, situations like that, we didn't get it done. And it just comes down to 1 or 2 guys doing their job, or 1 or 2 guys wanting to make the play, for us to get those touchdowns. So, again, it's a work in progress. We're young. I hate using that excuse, but at this point now, we just got to have a guy start stepping up and making plays, and they can. They just got to believe in themselves and have the discipline to do their job every single time, and the confidence in themselves to do their job. And once they do that, I think we'll be fine.
Parker Jenke got the nod, kicking field goals. He's kind of been your kickoff specialist this year and has improved dramatically, I think, from game 1 to where he is now on his kickoffs. But you let him kick a couple of field goals and came through for you. They weren't real long ones, but he still came through for you.
He still came through. He earned that spot in practice, and it's just the way he's been doing things through practice as well, and even with his kickoffs improving each week for us in our games. So give the kid an opportunity, let him see what he can do, and he did a great job for us.
He's just a freshman, so I'd imagine like everybody else, the weight room, the off season, getting some more leg strength. And I don't know a whole lot about kicking, how you go about that, but I'm sure there's ways where he can add a little bit more distance, because obviously the field goals and all that, the extra points are important, but those kickoffs become key as well.
They are. I mean, it's strength and flexibility, with those kickers. Get their lower body strong, do some cleans, do some squats and things like that, and learn how to get that leg whip through it, and that comes with flexibility. So he's only going to get better as he's here, and you can see him right now. He's pretty good as a freshman, but as long as he continues to work and work hard every day with a purpose, he'll be just fine.
No Manny Ramsey. He was injured in the Washburn game, and it could really his experience, but his speed, his ability to get open. It just felt like it was hard for your receivers to break away from the defense, which made it difficult for Chance.
Yeah, it was. But Calvin came in. I thought he did an excellent job. A kid that hasn't had a lot of experience. Walked on here. Just wanted to be a part of the program, but he's fearless. He walks in the game.
I think it was a third down, a big 21-yard reception.
And he's not afraid to go across the middle at all, not one bit. But no, he's a kid that just, as time goes on and he puts on some strength and he puts on some weight and all those things, he'll be a good player for us. But it's all that. You just see our young kids, we're just not quite, strong enough. We're not quite big enough yet either. But so you got to step up and even play harder and do things a little bit more physical, and it'll get there. But no, I'm proud of these kids, and the ones that are really truly putting everything they got into it every single day, and they're going to be the ones that in the future make this team go.
Chance didn't have his best game, but he did move up in the record books. He is now second in career passing yards behind Jacob Mazzara. If he kind of throws what he had been doing, he'll have a chance to maybe surpass that in the next 2 weeks. He moved up in pass attempts. I think he's second in completions behind Jacob Mazzara, and didn't throw a touchdown pass. Ended a string of 19 straight games with a touchdown pass, but he's one behind tying Jacob for career touchdown passes. So even though it maybe hasn't been his best year, he's still moving up on that record book. And I know he had to be playing with a heavy heart with his grandfather passing away last week.
Yeah, he was. And it was hard for him. But he still came to weights every day, came to practice every single day, came to all the meetings, still put all the time and effort in that he needs to. But he hadn't had an easy year. A lot of different receivers he's had to throw to this year with injuries, and guys missing this or guys missing that, and a new offensive line in front of him. But Chance is still our guy. He's earned it. He's worked his tail off ever since he's been here. He makes a lot of good plays for us, and he just really hasn't getting given a lot of opportunities to make those plays right now with so many changes, in the lineup. So hopefully, he can, these next 2 weeks, he can really, lock in with the guys that he has right now and get it figured out. And then, going into next year, really get some time with those guys in the spring, and through fall camp in the summer to hopefully get things back to where they need to be.
We're live at the Golden Q. It's Tiger Talk on this Monday. The program presented by Adams Brown, where they do more than just run numbers and file tax returns. They work hard to become strategic allies. Adams Brown, Strategic Allies, and CPAs. We will take another break. We've got more Tiger Talk live from the Golden Q here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wurtenberger Construction.
Fact: 8th Street Liquor is where good times start. Next fact: 8th Street Liquor has the best selection and prices on beer, liquor, and wine. Okay, I don't want to bore you with all the facts, but the fact of the matter is, you just can't get better than 8th Street Liquor. Yep, 8th Street Liquor, where good times start. That's the fact. Jack? Oh yes, they have plenty of Jack too.
Soto lines up right of Fuller, slaps the hands, takes the snap, drops back to pass, dumps it to Soto, breaks an ankle tackle, near sideline 30, 25-20, foot race 15, and down to the 10-yard line. Touchdown saving tackle by Derek Maxwell. Fort Hays State inside the Farm Implement and Supply red zone. They've got it first and goal at the 10. That's a 27-yard pass play. And we're back at the Golden Q, your home for Tiger Talk. Tiger Talk brought to you in part today by the Taco Shop. Dine in, carry out, or delivery, 625-7114. You know the number. You can also use their handy Taco Shop app. It's the Taco Shop. You've never had it so good. Felt like Adrian got a little bit more back on track on Saturday. He finished with 94 rushing yards and the one touchdown, and then he also caught four passes, tied for the team lead for 83 yards. So statistically, it was more of an Adrian Soto type day, and he had some returns in there as well. Continues to be one of the top all-purpose yardage guys in the MIAA this season.
Yeah, he's really done a good job. The greatest story is he was a walk-on for us, and he got his first touchdown against Northeastern State, who we play this week, and then ever since then he's really flourished and blossomed and he changed his body. But he's starting to figure out what a true season is of being the guy and being the starter as a tailback, and learn how to take care of his body and those things. And you can see how it kind of wears on guys as the season goes on. But he's doing the things he needs to do. He looked a lot better in this game than he did in the previous one, and he just needs to keep doing what he's doing, playing hard, playing physical, catching balls out of the backfield, and getting some long runs for us, and just staying to the grind. And if he does that, he's going to be a great running back for us in the future as well.
You see that guys get their chance, and it's a longer season than they're used to, and you kind of hit that wall. How would he respond? Well, he did very well, and you always wonder, well, was that going to kind of be the end for him this year? And he just kind of limps down the rest of the season, so to speak. But no, he didn't, and he's proven how versatile he is and all those things he can do. And I remember that run in Tahlequah. We were trying to figure out who he was because he hadn't played all year, and he had a huge hole and shows his speed. But it was good to see him bounce back.
It is, and it's just it is a long season, and as a football player, you got to understand that, and it's all the choices that you make is going to determine whether you make it through the season or not. How you rest, how you eat, how you hydrate, all those different things that go into it, going to the treatment, making sure that you are getting treated properly and doing things to keep your body healthy. And he does those things, and a lot of guys do that as well. But I'm proud of the kid. As long as he keeps working, stays humble, and continues doing the things that he's doing, he's going to be a great one here in the future.
We talk about the defense and 15. I mean, you take away the loss and the way the game went down. 15 points. You had them shut out for 3.5 quarters almost, a little bit more than that even. Got a big interception from Jordan Starks before halftime. That was a key play in the game. You step back and look at it, you had to be somewhat pleased with the defense, especially as many young guys. We talked about the injuries. You've got guys starting for the first time, playing more minutes than I'm sure you even expected to, against an offense that had been pretty good this year. The final result in the loss and giving up the 2 scoring drives late, but big picture, I guess, they played pretty well Saturday.
They did play well. Did a lot of good things, had a lot of big plays, had guys running to the ball. Got some decent pressure on the quarterback at times. Made some big plays with the interception, like you said, before the half, and all those little different things that go into it. But it's always the finish, But I was still proud of how they played for the first, 55 minutes of that game. You know, it's the last 5 that got us. But, you know, they did play well. And, you know, especially with that fast tempo offense. And I think we kept them underneath their total number of plays per game, you know. And but that's just our defense getting them off the field and getting the ball back to our offense. And then offensively, you know, we got to go score points. We got to keep our defense off the field, let them get some rest. You know, and we did that. They did a great job when they came out. I'm sure they got tons of 3-and-outs if we gave them time just to kind of relax and catch their breath a little bit.
Yeah, because they averaged 85 plays per game. Couple games over 100. They ran 69. You actually ran 5 more plays for them. It was kind of those weird games. You had 322 on offense. They had 360. There were more punting yards in this game because there were a lot of punts than there was total offense.
There was, and I hate punting the ball. You know, I really do. Saucon did a good job for us, you know, at punting as well, of changing some field position, getting some, you know, some of those inside the 20 and inside the 10. Just the last punt was probably the one that got us the most. But that, you look at that last drive, it's the punt was short, then we got a roughing the passer, then we got a pass interference call
on a ball that wouldn't have been caught.
Yep, and it's just all those little things that went into it that, you know, we kind of gave it away. But again, we played not to lose instead of just playing to win. And if we start playing to win, you know, we would have won some of those ball games.
And I guess one of those situations, I mean, the wind kind of switched. It was more of a crosswind. That last punt, it was directly into your face. And I guess that goes with youth. He's a freshman punter, to recognize that, and you maybe have to approach that punt a little bit differently than you did all the other ones, because he had maybe his best game of the year going into that final punt.
Yeah, he did, but welcome to Hays, Kansas, right?
Exactly.
You never know which way the wind's going to blow at any certain time. I mean, it can change in a matter of seconds, and he's been here long enough. He just needs to put a little bit more pop on it, and he's won. You know, he definitely needs to get stronger, needs to get some more flexibility, and once he does that, I mean, these balls are really going to start flying.
Well, they get that drive, and you had him a couple of times in third down and couldn't get him off the field, but even after they scored, it was still 12-7. To me, it was the 3-and-out right after was the deciding factor in that football game.
It was. You know, that's right then, those situations, those things you talk about all the time is going to finish a ball game and getting your offense on the field, because we've been, you know, in that quarter running the ball really, really well, and just kind of stopped and went away. Then we had to, you know, try to throw a quick little pass just to get the first down, and it was tipped at the line of scrimmage, and then the short punt. So just kind of all fell away and fell apart in a matter of, you know, 3 or 4 minutes. But we'll get it figured out. These kids will get it figured out. I mean, I know this season isn't exactly what we wanted, but you know, we'll be back.
And Chance had that pass tipped on that possession, then the final possession, in fact, final play, it got tipped. That was a problem early in his career. We've seen that happen a little bit more this season.
Yeah, you know, he fixed the problem. Not just knowing this game, he just felt the pressure and was trying to get out of his hands too quick. It wasn't getting the height on his arm or what it was, but there was, you know, a little bit in his face. But you know, he's still gonna use the same mechanics as you always do, and you know, he'll watch film, he'll see it, and you know, he's harder on himself than anybody else can be, because that's just the way he is. You know, he's just one of those kids that wants to compete every single day, be the best he can every single day, and he's going to work to do that.
Tiger Talk brought to you by the Hays Orthopedic Institute. Expertise, technology, and compassion, all right here. The Hays Orthopedic Institute, they're the official team physicians for Fort Hays State Athletics. We're going to take another break. We'll come back, get to your questions that were sent to us. We'll answer those and continue with more Tiger Talk live from the Golden Q here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
Ready to discover something new? The next time you're in your car, tune your radio to 94.3 FM.
It's here. It's Hays' greatest hits.
Love it.
On 1400 KAYS and 94.3 FM. Do you believe in love? Story. Well,
94.3 FM, KAYS. Go ahead, check us out.
And that's going to be Varner to line them all three in a triangle. Pass across the middle. It's intercepted in the end zone. It is picked off. Jordan Starks at the goal line. They tried to run a slant, and Starks intercepts it. Third pick of the year for Fort Hays State, and the second in consecutive games for Starks, and they deny the Hornets at the goal line. Yeah, nice play there by the veteran safety Jordan Starks on that interception. That looked to us like that was a guy who studied film and had a pretty good feeling what was going to be run at that situation. He was in the right spot at the right time and ended up being a big play in the game.
Yeah, it was a huge play for us, and then, you know, they get in a little diamond set a lot, you know, offensively, and do some different things out of it. But it's just, having your guys in the right spot at the right time, and he knew exactly where he needed to be. And, Coach Dudley and, Coach Harrison, those guys, and Coach Happ, really study, that film as well and make sure those kids see the things that they need to see in practice to prepare for that. And I'm sure his film study as well went into that. But, it was a great play, and, we needed that play at that time, because that would have been a huge change in momentum for them going into half.
Yeah, big play. His second consecutive pick, and I know that the turnovers as far as gained aren't where you'd like them to be, but you've gotten even. You're dead even in giveaway takeaways. It's been an uphill climb, and hopefully these final 2 weeks you can get to the plus side, because you start breaking down this season, you compare it to other years you've had, obviously the close losses, and a lot of times those close losses come down to turnovers, and that has not been to the level, and certainly the way it has been with you guys usually a very dominant plus turnover margin.
Yeah, it just comes down to the physicality of the game. You play physical, and you start hitting receivers and running backs and quarterbacks. You start getting some fumbles, and quarterbacks throwing balls up, and we get picks. And again, going to attack the ball instead of just knocking it down and making a play. That's kind of what turns into turnovers. If we can do that, would be great. And then offensively, just taking care of it. That's something that we haven't done a lot of this year. I mean, we've gotten better.
Yes.
But early in the season we didn't. So it goes hand in hand, physicality and turnovers kind of come together.
Well, we got some questions that were emailed to us throughout the weekend. You can do it. Go to FHSUathletics.com, click on Fan Zone. You'll get the drop down there at the very bottom. Ask the coach. If we use your question, you'll be in the running for a gift certificate for free food here at the Golden Q. One of them, do you give weekly awards, for instance, best hit, best offensive play, best defensive play, game balls, etc.?
Yeah, we have players of the week. We have hard hats that we have made up. Looks just like our helmet, but it's a hard hat. It's black, and it's got the Tiger logo on the side. One for offensive line, offensive skill, D-line, defensive skill, 2 for special teams, and then big hits as well is all we have. And so each week, we figure out who the player of the week are, and then they sign it, and at the end of the year, whoever has the name on it the most gets the helmet. So that's kind of our player award.
It's kind of funny you mentioned Chance was player of the week offensively for you last week. You had 2 guys recognized. They weren't your players of the week for your team, but yet the conference recognized them.
Yeah, and it all goes down to how we evaluate our kids, and it's a percentage, and it's the kids that maybe don't make the most plays, but the kids that grade out the highest and do their job to the best of their ability, and making sure that they're doing the things that they need to do at their position and at that time in that play that gets those guys the players of the week.
You kind of touched on this earlier in the show, but how will you and your coaches help keep these guys motivated after that tough loss, and kind of the tone of practice this week for everybody?
It's just it's all about character right now, and even us as coaches, how are we going to act? When the season's not going the way we want it to. We still got to be positive. We still got to coach hard. We still got to teach, and we still got to put them in good positions. We still got to game plan the same exact way that we have been game planning to make sure that our kids are ready and prepared. But that's what it comes down to, just having some excitement in practice still, and keeping them motivated and keep pushing them and making sure they're doing things right. And yeah, it's hard right now. It's tough, but the good coaches and the good players and the guys that truly do care will make the most out of these next 2 weeks.
An interesting question. A fair catch in the end zone, not a fair catch in play, but in the end zone. Does the ball, I'm assuming they mean on a kickoff, does it come out to the 20 or 25? And do you like that new fair catch rule?
No, on the kickoff, it's always the 25. Whether it gets kicked into the end zone, or whether you fair catch it on the 2, whether you fair catch it in the end zone, most guys just let it go bounce in the end zone anyway. But at times I do. If you got a great return game and they're kicking a line drive ball, and I hate it because I want our guys to catch that ball and go. But now if they're kicking it sky high, and the returners or the kickoff team is down there in your face, you definitely want a fair catch. That way you get good field position. That's what will happen. We were doing that at Central Missouri 2 weeks ago, because the kickoff was so high that we could not get a return. So as the fourth quarter, we decided to fair catch it, but he kicked it out of the end zone anyway, so it didn't really matter. But I do like it. I mean, if you're in a bind and things aren't happening right, you can fair catch it and get the ball to 25 instead of 20.
We saw Emporia. I think they fair caught. Now there weren't a ton of kickoffs, but I think every kickoff they fair caught in that ball game Saturday. If I recollect correctly, and you haven't maybe done it as much. I'm sure some of that's just by the way the kicks have been, but they're one of the few teams that I think every kick it seemed like they were going to call for a fair catch.
It's just safe. You're going to get the ball in 25. It's still good field position. With a punt, you can actually easily change field position. So right risk dropping the kick, fumbling the kick off, if a guy gets hit pretty hard, but there's always that chance you can pop it and go. But, that doesn't happen very often. But, I do like it. But, yeah, they did. Emporia Fair caught it every single time, but they had good field position every time as well.
We talked to Alex Schramer earlier this season, asked him about, he's your punt return guy, about when do you fair catch, when do you not, and what's it like being the return man. And I think he had a great answer. Terrified to death, yet it's the most exhilarating thing, and it is. It's a split-second decision. There's usually guys around you, but if you make the right decision and you just catch a break and get one block, it can be a big, big play.
It can, but it's a feel, and it's a feel that you can't see, right? Because you don't want to take your eyes off the ball, because if you do to see where the cover is, you're going to lose the ball. So it's just one of those things you just early kick, kind of see how they're coming off, and then getting the feel, and also understanding, the call to, are we holding up, are we going for the block, all those different things too. But it is, I remember doing it in college as well. It's one of those ones you just don't know, if I catch this, there's going to be somebody right in my face to knock me out. But it is exhilarating, it is fun, because there are always those opportunities to break one and make a big thing happen, and even change momentum with something like that.
Tiger Talk brought to you by BTI. They're your John Deere dealer in Buckland, Great Bend, Greensburg, Hoxie, Nessity, and Pratt. BTI, our family in partnership with your family. We're going to take our final break. We'll preview this Saturday's road game in Tahlequah against Northeastern State. We'll do that next here on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.
That was another legend on 99 KZ Country. And yes, before that, we had a brand new artist. Your home for today's stars and the legends. We play real country. I'm Teresa Trapp. Weather, news, sports, it's all here. We're on Facebook, and there is a listen live link at hayespost.com. Dial us in on your radio at 99.5 FM. KHAZ, Real Country. 99 KZ Country.
On this drive, Chance Fuller has moved into second place in career passing yards at Fort Hays State. He's going to run an option left side, high pitch, grabbed in by Soto, stays on his feet, he's into the end zone. Touchdown, Fort Hays State, their first of the day. Great hands by Soto. The pitch from Fuller was high, but he hauled it in around his shoulder pads, broke off a hit at the 3, and goes into the end zone. And it's 12-0 Tigers with 6:20 to play in the game. Yeah, 15-play, 81-yard drive. Felt pretty good right there, but unfortunately Fort Hays State would not hold on, and they lose 15-12 to Emporia State. Now on the road in Tahlequah, I think the longest road trip of the year for the Tigers this season, taking on the Northeastern State Riverhawks at Doc Wadley Stadium. They've obviously had a struggle. They've recently had a new coach trying to build that program and turn it around, and you look at them, they've been competitive. They were only down, I think, 14-0 at halftime at Washburn Saturday, but still you could tell a program trying to build, trying to get better, but I think will be obviously much better than the one you played the last time when you scored 91 on them 2 years ago.
Yeah,
there.
Coach Eckert's done a good job of building that team and getting those kids to play hard. I remember, 2019, we went there and they had, I think we traveled more kids than they suited up, and now he has more kids on his team, and you can tell they're playing hard. They're just still young. They're still trying to develop those kids and trying to get them stronger and faster and understanding what they're doing. But he'll get it done. You can see that with just Missouri Southern too, with Coach Bradley and what he's done there. It's just going to take time, and it's not easy to build in this conference, as tough as this conference is. But he'll have those boys ready to play, and it's going to be a good one on Saturday.
It seems like they've struggled offensively. I think they lead in interceptions thrown. They're last in total offense. It's been taking a little while to get that going on that side of the ball.
It is. It does, and it seems like it's always the one that takes the longest is to get that offense going, just because you got to find linemen that can really block and protect your quarterback, and get the run game going too, and then get a quarterback that's not nervous because of the pressure, things, just all those little different things that go into it. But eventually they'll get there and they'll be fine.
All right, sounds good, Coach. As always, we appreciate your time. Have a good week of practice, and we'll see you down in Tahlequah Saturday afternoon.
Thanks, Gerard. Appreciate you.
That will be a 1 o'clock kick from Wadley Stadium. We'll be on the air at noon with the Auto World pregame show over on Tiger Radio Mix 103 and along the Tiger Sports Network. Tiger Talk today presented by the Golden Belt Bank of Hayes and Ellis, Adams Brown, the Taco Shop, BTI, Hayes Orthopedic Institute, and G&L Tire and Automotive. For the coach, this is Gerard Welbrock. We're live at the Golden Q. Tiger Talk on the Tiger Sports Network, built by Paul Wertenberger Construction.